Trump's call to the Georgia Secretary of State is the talk of the town. It's an hour long call, but I would like to play you a short 1 minute clip which kind of summarizes the entire call and also explains what Trump is really after. Take a listen.
So, look, all I want to do is this. I just want to find 11,780 votes, which is one more than we have, because we won the state, and flipping the state is a great testament to our country, because, you know, and there's just, it's a testament that they can admit to a mistake, or whatever you want to call it, if it was a mistake. I don't know. A lot of people think it wasn't a mistake. It was much more criminal than that. But it's a big problem in Georgia, and it's not a problem that's going away. I mean, you know, it's not a problem that's going away. And we got
President, this is Ryan. We're looking into every one of those things that you mentioned.
Okay,
and our investigators.
Good. But if you find them, you got to say it, Ryan. Look, if they're, let me ask you, Ryan, if they're destroying ballots.
Let me tell you what we are seeing.
Go ahead. Good.
What we're seeing is not at all what you're describing.
Okay.
And these are investigators from our office. These are investigators from GBI, and they're looking and they're good, and that's not what they're seeing. And we'll keep looking. We'll keep looking at all these things.
Well, you better check on the ballots, because they are shredding ballots, Ryan. I'm just telling you, Ryan. They're shredding ballots, and you should look at that very carefully, because that's so illegal. You know, you may not even believe it because it's so bad, but they're shredding ballots because they think we're going to eventually get there, because we'll eventually get into Fulton. You know, it's in my opinion, it's never too late.
So Trump openly says that he wants to find 11,780 votes. He finishes the sentence with a tricky ending. I just want to find 11,780 votes, which is one more than we have because we won the state. Call that ending an insurance against the lawsuit. Anyone listening to that statement will understand what Trump is asking there. But if you take the clip to the court, you will have to prove Trump's intention with that particular statement. So instead of saying explicitly that Georgia must toss out at least 11,799 legitimate votes for me to win, Trump reversed the whole thing, clearly saying, I just want to find the required votes, but mixed it up with a statement at the end saying that he won the state. Anyways, for those people who are thinking that this audio call is proof of wrongdoing, I clearly disagree. On the moral side, yes, it is. But when taken to the court, there is enough confusion littered at every turn that you will find it extremely hard to prove Trump's intentions. He will easily say, I believed that there was fraud at the scale of hundreds of thousands of votes. I was asking them merely to find just the fraudulent 11,799 out of them. So that brings us to the question, why did Trump make the call at this point? Why do it a day before the electoral vote count? Why take so much risk? But as I said, this wasn't a risky move at all. He was extremely crafty with the way he spoke. The kind of questions he asked, repeatedly posturing as if there was enough evidence that something wrong took place. The call was so good that it got some people to say that Trump truly believes in what he is saying, which in itself is a huge victory. And the call also gives some firepower for all those Republican representatives and senators who are planning to object to the electoral vote counting on January 6th. The wall-to-wall coverage by the media since yesterday has now carried Trump's back and forth with Georgia officials all over the country and possibly forced every Republican supporter to listen to the president's conversation. That's tens of millions of dollars worth of free advertisement for Trump's efforts to overturn the election result. Done free of cost with just an hour's worth of effort from Donald Trump. And right at this point, I want to move your attention towards what Jared Kushner told veteran journalist Bob Woodward.
House. One of the strangest passages and one of the most revealing passages in the whole book concerns your conversation with Jared Kushner, in which he gave you sort of a quasi-literary guide to understanding Donald Trump. And he mentioned Alice in Wonderland, obviously. But the one I wanted to ask you about, because this is so bizarre, Jared Kushner talked about Scott Adams, the Dilbert cartoonist who's pro-Trump. And Scott Adams, in his book Win Bigly, Persuasion in a World Where Facts Don't Matter, talks about intentional wrongness persuasion. And I thought at that point in the book, somewhere around the 300, I forgot exactly where, 300 pages or so in, I thought, okay, now Bob is really getting down to something. Talk about intentional wrongness persuasion and Jared Kushner's understanding of this idea.
Yes, the way Kushner explains it, I'm glad you asked because I think it's central and fascinating. Kushner's explanation, which I quote him in the book saying, is the controversy elevates message. Namely, if you have a controversy that is more or less on your side, it's going to help you. And the example he cites is the economy, where Trump comes out and says it's the best economy in the world. And then there's a dispute, and all the fact checkers come along and say, no, in the 1950s it was better, or the Roman Empire, or something like that. And Kushner says that controversy, that dispute, the average person out there, Biden supporter, Trump supporter, not following all the news, but sees this and then says, well, the economy's pretty good, and whether it's the best in the world does not really affect their lives. What does affect their lives at this point before the virus is that it's basically a good economy. And if you think about it, it's a clever strategy. Get into these fights, which Kushner talks about, and if they are on favorable ground, it will help Trump because the Democrats and the media will come in and dispute things in a very...
Controversy elevates the message. Now, this latest controversy, which is in my opinion, is risk-proofed. This has indeed taken Trump's message to every household around the country thanks to our media's inability to see through it. I don't know who leaked the audio tapes to Washington Post, but I will not be surprised if it came straight from the White House because the tapes send a clear message to Trump's followers that the president is not faking the whole thing, that he truly believes in what he is saying, that he is not just taking your money and doing nothing, but he is really pushing people to find those votes. But despite all his efforts, he keeps running into roadblocks. It also provides a good cover for Trump when he moves out of the White House on January 20th. Trump is positioning himself as a true victim of monumental proportions. That's the message he is sending, and his followers will buy the message even more now than they did before the call was made. And what is the point of calling just Georgia with 15 electoral votes when you're behind by 38 votes to get to 270? Is it a call focused on getting a result? Or was it meant to be made public? Or is it a call that was designed to pull the carpet out of the GOP in the Georgia Senate runoff? Thanks for watching. If you like it, please subscribe.